Yeah, coming back. So this is all about the features. Means these are ready-made with respect to the attributes. We can just use that based upon our use case. So in which time we need to use what means you will understand when you're working on a project. So at sometimes they will ask like, I want all capital letters. Then you can use dot capital or based on the situation. So especially for the data messaging, when you're working on the data pipelines or anything, you can use it or any kind of related operations. So these were like converters, right? Till now. The next set is in terms of validators. Validators means they will check whether it is correct or not. You give a string, it will check whether that string is in title case or not. Is it uppercase or not? Is it lowercase or not? So like that we can evaluate. If you observe here, it's string you give. You're asking, is it a title case? Yes, it's a title case, right? And you're asking this string, is it an uppercase? Did you observe it has alphabets, numbers, and hash, which is a non-character, non-alphabet. But still it is saying true because is upper checks for any presence of smaller, means lower character, lowercase characters. If it has at least one lowercase characters, it says no, not upper. But apart from that, it can have other different characters also. Similarly, is lower checks for the absence of this one. So and here see in this observe, if you see like is lower you are asking, it has all the lowercase characters. Apart from that, it has other numbers and others, but it don't have a uppercase character. So it is true. But this is a very interesting case. You have numbers and hash. You don't have lower or upper. Means at least there should be one character of that case and the opposite case character should not be present. So this is the conclusions you can draw. So that is what we learned. So this is the conclusion we have learned, right? Uppercase, everything should be there, but in lowercase, like this. At least one character, so for that intervals. Similarly, we have the other cases where you can ask whether the character is like, is it a digit? Is it a digit? Is it digit means like a number, right? If I give 1, 2, 3, 4, is it a digit? Yes, true. If I give minus 1, 2, 3, 4, is it a digit? It says false. Means hyphen is there, right? It don't treat like it's a minus number. Sometimes when you're getting the values from runtime, when the user is passing, if you want to do this kind of validations, you can use it. So next, okay, so here if you have one more use case, you have numbers. All numbers are there, but at the end you have white space. It's saying false. In the middle you have white space. It says false. Apart from numbers, you have something else. It says false. Means whenever the user is passing some runtime inputs, if you want to do the validations, you can use it. Similar to the is digit, there is another thing called as is numeric. Digit and number are slightly different. And that's why I placed both nearby. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, it says true. If I give minus 1, 2, 3, 4, it also says false. Same like this. But if I have, so see here, white space after that, then also it says false, false, false. Means both will exactly work in the same way. But will there be two operations for the same thing? No, right? Now this is an assignment for you where you need to identify what is the differences between these two. Assignment is like, string dot is digit, so versus string dot is numeric. What is the difference between these two? Identify that. And similarly, so there is another thing called as is alphabet. Means whether it is an alphabet or not. Means all characters should be alphabets only. It can have capital, small, anything, but it should be only alphabets. Apart from alphabets, you have any other character, it says false. Similarly, if you want to check whether something is alphanumeric, means apart alphabets and numbers, as it is saying, alphabets and numbers, anything can have, both can have, but apart from that, nothing should be there. Did you see it has only numbers? It is true. Only alphabets? It is true. But apart from that, it has anything else? It's false. Similarly, if you want to evaluate something like is space, you want to check whether it is a space character or not. If you want to evaluate, this is how we do. It has one space. It has more spaces. It has apart from spaces something else, then false. It has no space at all. No character, empty, then also it is false. Similarly, sometimes when you're working with non-English characters, so we need to use this built-in function called as ASCII. Among the 64 or 69 built-in functions, slowly I'm telling everything. Today we learned about ID and ASCII. So if you have some Greek characters, if you want to use those characters, fine. What if you want to convert everything to ASCII? ASCII means what? American Standard Code for Information Interchange, right? Something. Means whatever you see on your keyboard, English keyboard, those are ASCII characters. In an English keyboard, can you write this alpha or gamma or these characters? No. So for that, they created this kind of Unicode characters. That's why you get everything like Unicode. Sir, why only that Unicode came, sir? Means -u followed by that is like a hexadecimal number. 03B1. Hexadecimals can be from 0 through 9 and 1 A to F, right? Like that. So in standard language, we have 128 characters, but beyond that, we have many big characters. So for large number, for representing a small fashion, we have hexadecimal. And like it is a unique code. No matter today you write alpha like this, or like if you print like after 10 times also, you get the same code. If you observe, you get the same code every time. Because in the back end, it was written that for this particular character, this should be only code. These are called as Unicode characters. So in Python 3, by default, it is UTF-8 compatible. That's why when I print this gamma or anything, it should print as it is. It should process as it is. In Python 2, you have a problem, but in Python 3, the default encoding is UTF-8. So all the Unicode can be printed. But what if you have sometimes where you don't have UTF-8 supported? You want all to be ASCII. That's where we can use this built-in function ASCII. So if it has all alphabets like English characters, then it will come as it is. Any character on the keyboard, it will come as it is. So white English keyboard. Beyond that, if you get any other character, it is represented like this. So similarly, if you want to check whether something is ASCII or not, in the first case, you convert it. Second case, you are validating. Is it an ASCII? False. Is it an ASCII? Yes. Is it an ASCII? Yes. So that you can check. In the same fashion, there is one more thing called as is printable. Means you remember there is something called as escape sequences. I told on the other day. /n, /r, /t, all these things are escape sequences. Those are not printable. Means like when you print, they will not print it, but they will show their importance. So AB is printable? Yes, of course. Is /n printable? No. Is /t printable? False. But what if you have two slashes? Then it is printable, right? So just to show. Similarly, if you go for this concept of identifiers, I told that any identifier, you means user defined variable, should not start with any other character except like numbers and others, right? So we have done very detailed thing for that. So I have given some details for you to understand. You can use that. So I have given like, more examples for you to see. Is it an identifier or not? We discussed very in length and detail, right? I don't want to go further. Even if you give these many underscores also, it is valid. But I told not to use underscores in the starting for time being. Next, going back. So you did earlier the string indexing and slicing, right? At the time, what you did? You took like forward or negative indexing. You gave a number and that number position. If you have a character, it will give it, right? That is the point. But now we are going for a new attribute called as find. Till now what happened? You give a number position, it will give the character. But now you give a character, it will tell at what position it is present. Means number is something unique. At a given number, only one character will be present. But sir, what if you give a character? A character can occur more than one time, right? So P can occur like 2 times, or T can occur like multiple times, M can occur multiple times. Then what if you are giving like a character? It will give the first occurrence of that character. If you see here, it will give the first occurrence. If you see in this case, T is occurring only one time in this entire string. It is occurring at the second position. You got to. So similarly, what if you are giving like a N? Say, if I give N, there is N1 here and one more N here. So when I give N, will I get 5 or like 16? I will get 5. So means generally it will go from left to right. That's the reason it will give only the 5. Did you see 5 was given? But sir, what if I want to get 16? Means instead of left to right, it should go from right to left scanning. So here there is no concept of negative indexing, right? Generally, there is no negative indexing at all. So for a string, what will you do? If you want to get the scanning in a reverse direction, there is another attribute called as rfind. Find means left to right. Rfind means right to left it will scan. When it is scanning from right to left, what is the first occurrence? This N. What is its position? It will not give negative. As I told, there is nothing like negative in the thing. Everything is positive only. You get 16. So that is what the difference. Similarly, so you can give slight difference also. Means I will do one more logic. So I am dealing that, hey, can you get me the position of character N? But you should not start from 0th position. You should start from 6th position onwards in that string. Try to find. From 6th position onwards means there is only one N, right? You get like this. Means you can give this kind of offsetting also. Similarly, if I go for the same rfind, from right to left scanning, it will give by default 16th position. What if you want to get from 15th position onwards, you want to check? If from 15th position, if I check, again, I'll get 5, right? Sorry, this one. From 15th position, if I am checking, it will go this one only. It will check only this part. It will take this part and it will check. That is how it get. Similarly, if you want between some substring, not just only one starting position, you want to take like a substring and within that you want to find. If I'm giving like 6th position till like 17th position and within that I want to find. So I give two things, right? Like this. Similarly, if I go further, it is not just designed to get a position of a particular character. We can give, in fact, an entire substring. Character means one thing. Character is also a substring, right? So if I give like PROG, it will check for the exact occurrence of this word. P followed by R followed by O followed by G. Yes. Then what is the position at which it is starting? 7. If I think from left to right or right to left, so we are checking for PROG only, not RO, so GORP, right? So in both sides, where is PROG starting? At 7th position only. So whether you do left to right or right to left, it may be confusing, but it will start at this position only. Similarly, same kind of find operation can be done with one more attribute called as index. Everything, single character, multiple characters, you give like index, right index. Whatever find does, exactly index also does. Index is another attribute. But will we have two attributes for the same purpose? No. So both are designed for different purposes. Means till now we are being very optimistic. We are trying to get the things which are present. Generally, what happens when you do with indexing? If you are going with out of index, what it throws? Indexing, it will throw an error, right? For slicing, there is no problem. But for indexing, what you noticed? If you are asking for a position which is not present, it will throw an index error. But here you are giving all the characters which are present, either one or more number of times. What if you give a character which is not present at all? Say in this Python programming, there is no Q. If I give a character called Q, that's where you will understand. Generally, find if you give a Q, as it don't have the value, it will not throw any error. It will give the value of -1. As I told you again, there is nothing like a negative index. When it is saying -1, don't think it is present in the last position. Think that it is not there. So if you are going for the index, instead of giving -1, it will throw an exception. Means sometimes you will have use cases where certain things are not present, but you want to do an alternative solution. Then you can use like find. But sometimes that is very mandatory. If it is not there, you want to throw an exception. Then in that case, use index. So that's the difference. Similarly, so this thing, if you see, as I told you, this is one example. PROG. Exact word substring is present, right? PROG. So you get the answer. And in the second case, I'm doing PORG. Did you observe carefully? Is there anything like PORG? No. So we have PROG, not PORG. Means the substring should be exactly present in the same order. If you give in any other order which is not present, it find will give -1, index will throw an exception. So that is the difference between these two. Next, going further, in terms of the string attributes, there are other set of string attributes because strings are like very vast. So GH string or attributes. If I see here, so in the dir of the strings, you have seen furthermore attributes. If you observe, few of them will be covered. I'm not going in the order as given, but slightly you can go here and there. But now we are going for next thing called as the most important thing called as strip. To understand this, so let's take few examples of strip for you to understand. This time I will go in an interactive mode for better understanding. Because when I print in the output, you cannot see a white space, right? So it's very difficult. Till now, we are running a Python script and running it. So you can go for interactive mode called as Python. So you can use the word called as language, say something like this, say space, Python, production, something. I give some white spaces. Did you understand? And if I use language, did you see this white spaces coming? As codes are coming, you can understand it better. When you do like a print, generally when you do in a script mode, what you have? If you want to print anything, you need to use print statement. When you use the print, there is a white space before, but after white space, did you understand? You cannot. That's the reason I told these things cannot be understood when you're in a script mode. So that's why I'm doing it in interactive mode for better understanding. Okay, as I came to this interactive mode, let me give you one more introduction. Same like this one, there is another thing called as IPython. So for working on it, if it is the first time, we need to work with the command called as pip install IPython. So pip install IPython. So if I do like this, we can install a particular module. So this module will not come by default. We need to install it. So pip install IPython. So what is this? To install IPython. Sir, what is this IPython, sir? What is the purpose? To understand. So till now what you did, Python and did this job, right? Same like that, I will do like IPython. If I do IPython, same interactive mode, but slightly different. Here you got something called as Chevron. It's like a Python prompt and you work on it. Whereas here, we can do it much better way. Means you can do up arrow, we can get the previous result. We can do like a completions, auto suggestions like that. Means if I take the same example of language, say language equal to Python programming. If I print it, you got it? Did you see it is saying input? And then if I ask, hey, what is language? Did you see when I'm typing, the previous command is coming, right? For suggestion. If I say I don't want and I give an enter, did you see that it is showing output? In the previous case, just printing output as it is. But here it is distinguishing. In the first line, it's just like an input. Second line, you printed, you gave some input, you got output also. Means not every line will have an output, right? Yes. So now if I ask language, so I can just give a tab, half characters I can give, and I can ask like column. You remember this kind of indexing we did? Or if I give like for this thing, what are the attributes are there for this data type? If I give a dot and if I give a tab, did you see it is coming automatically? Now, if I am working on something called a strip, with ST, I gave a tab. There are two things which are starting with ST. So I want to go for strip. You see? Now, what is this strip doing? It will remove the white spaces on both sides. If you want to remove the white spaces on a specific direction, there is called as L strip. As the name says, it strips only in the left direction, not in the right. Similarly, if you want to strip only in the right direction, R strip. Only in the right it will strip, left side it will be there. If you want to strip in both directions, that is like that. Is strip designed only for stripping the white spaces at the ends? And did you observe that the white space in the middle is not stripped in all these cases? Okay, means strip is designed to remove anything at the edges only. Sir, what if I want to strip a character apart from the white space? Then in that case, we should give that specific character. So if I give something like this, if I give empty, means I don't want to strip anything. Even a white space also came, right? If you want to explicitly split something, we can give it. Even a white space I can give, it will remove. Or instead of white space, if I give some other characters, will it remove? No. Why? Because it will try to remove any character from the edges first. Okay, let me give that example. In the edges, I have white space followed by P and followed by N, right? In both sides. Only in strip, you don't expect the character should be in that order. It can be any order it can have. Until unless the edges were removed, it will not remove anything. If I give like P followed by a space, is there P followed by space? No, but still it will remove. So how it will go is like first it will go to the first character. It will check, do we have in the edges? No. Then it will go to the next character, which is white space. Do we have at the edges? Yes, remove it. Then it will go to the next thing like that. Means first it will go here. So if you go to this character, you will understand. So then it will ask, hey, do we have white space? P. I said, no, I don't have P. Fine. Then do we have white space? Yes. Then remove it. On the right side also, do you have? Yes, remove it. Then again it will ask, do you have P? Yes, I have P in the left side. Do you have P on the right side? No, it will not remove. If you take this example, this is very interesting. You will understand. So in this case, if you observe, it will remove like this. If you observe in this case, how it actually works is very simple. First, it is going like this, and you give the input of say PTHON like that. How it is working? See, first you gave like P. It will check in the both sides. Hey, do we have P? No. So do we have P in the edges? No. Then it will go to the white space. Do we have white space in the edges? Yes. Do we have again white space? Yes. Do we have again white space? So like that, it will remove the white spaces. On the other side also, it will ask, do you have at the edges? Then it will go to the T. Do you have T at the end? No. Do you have T at the end? No. Do you have H at the end? H, no. N at the end? No. N at the end? Yes, it has. It will remove the N. Then it will have asked, do you have O at the end? No. I have O at the end. Then remove. Again, it will come to the starting. I check for P. Hey, do you have P at the end? Yes. Remove it. Do you have P at the end? No. Do you have white space at the end? No. White space at the end? No. Again, it will check for T. Like that, recursively, it will check for presence of every character after removing one character others. So like that, it will recursively remove everything. But if subsequently, if I add these two characters also, one more Y, if I add, then how it does? it will remove even the white space. Once y was removed, again it will check in the entire loop. It has t, then remove the t in this case. Adjust not t. Then it will have h. It will remove the h. Then it will remove, so O, it is there. It will remove it. Like that, recursively, it will remove all the characters. Even n is there. Even white space is there. Again, p is there. So that's why this is very interesting. If you print this character, you will notice that it has product, right? P, which is a capital P. That's why it didn't. So in our case, we have all small characters, right? Small production. So like that, we can do with strip in different things. Means, so we can do that strips individually, one after the other, or we can do all at one shot. So do you like stripping like this by dot strip off, dot strip off, dot strip off like this? Or in one shot, you want to strip everything? In fact, you don't do, if you do like this also indirectly does the same. So you can simply write all the characters to be removed at the edges. So it will not remove the others. Hope you understood now. And very simple examples to understand for you in terms of stripping is this one. If I do like a strip of A, all the A's will be removed. But if I say A, B is there, if I want to strip, did you observe that B will not be removed because around B there is a white space. Here we are not giving white space. For strip, if you don't give anything, it will remove white space by default. But if you give anything, it will not remove the white spaces. Even if you want white space also, you should explicitly give. Then only it will remove all the strings. Hope you understood now, clear? And also, so one more use case with the L strip is like whenever you are working with numbers. Generally for the numbers, we have like some zeros prepended, right? If you want to remove them, L strip of 0 if you give. So when registration numbers and others, it will remove. So same ways, the reverse of removing this filling called as Z fill. This is very interesting. Z fill, by the name itself, it tells it will add the fill character. Z fill means zero fill, filling with zeros. If I give 123 like a string, and if I am doing Z fill of 3, as we have only 3 characters, it is nothing to fill. If I give 4, so as we have input with 3 characters, it is adding 1. And if I give like 7, did you see? How many pending are there? Those many it is adding. If I give like 78, what happened? All were zeros after this. Is it defined only for numbers? No. Generally, it expects a string. If I give like Uday, it will do. So till what I have Uday, so it will do. So if I give like, say, Uday Prakash. So if you see here, what? Till what my characters are present, it will take that. And the remaining things, it will prepend with a 0. So 0 is the only thing that it will fill. Sir, what if you want to fill with something else? So 0 is, Z fill is not that option. There are other ways to do. But for now, you understand this. This is fine. Now, one interesting point about Python is that how to convert a string to a list. So list means what? Means think like, pieces stored in a data structure. So you can use something called a split. This is another attribute called a split. So I will write the exact words so that you can better do. So Python programming dot strip. Till now, you know. Similarly, like strip, we can have something called a split. Split means it will divide that word into 2 parts. Why only 2, sir? Because how many times white spaces are there, it will divide that much times. So if I give like Python programming language, if I have 3 parts now, did you observe that it is doing what? It is dividing to 3 parts because there are 2 white spaces. That's what, right? If you have a cake, if you make 2 slices, it will treat to 3 parts, right? Assuming you are doing so like that. So like that, it will divide. how many times that particular character is occurring, that much time. Say here, explicitly, if I don't want to give, if I give an empty space, unlike the previous strip, it is throwing an error. Means at least you should have one thing when you're doing a split. You don't give anything, it will split by white space. If you give explicitly something, it will split by that. Okay, sir, if I don't want to give white space, say I want to split with A. How many times A is present? Programming, language A. So till the first occurrence, it will do one part. From that place till the next occurrence, one more part. From that place till the next occurrence. And did you see in the output, the character with which you are splitting is not coming in the output? Say, sir, what if I am doing like A, B, or like say A, P? Individually, A is present and P is present. But why it is not doing? So only in the strip, it don't expect in this exact order. But in others, it expects in the same order. So if you give any other order, it cannot do. So whenever you don't have, it is not throwing error. It is creating to a list, but with a single value. List is a new data structure that you will learn in Python. In other languages, you can imagine like equivalent of an array, but in Python, array is different from list. So we don't have array by default. There is something called as NumPy, which has an array, but by default, Python supports a data structure called as a list. That we will learn in the next chapter. So here you can understand that. So now the conclusion is that whether the character with which you are splitting is present or not. So when you do a split, the result will be a list. So if it is present for more than one time, it will split as many amount of times. If it is not present at all, even then it will not throw any error, but it will give the same answer. But if you give an empty string, then it will throw a value error. Similarly, next thing. If you take, this is one of the interview questions. This one, if you observe carefully, you'll understand. If I give like an empty string, of course, if I give like an empty split character, that will throw an error. But if I give an empty string and try to split, it will not throw any error. It will give a list of a single character, which is an empty again. So single thing. Where if I give like a one space, if I'm trying to split, what will happen? So these are something like very interesting interview questions. If I don't give any space, you get nothing. So even this is also not there. So if I give like one space, did you see in that case also it has nothing? And if I have this any number of times, you got nothing, right? Fine. So that is what you need to understand. And here with the split, the one interesting part I will tell. This is one of the very, very interesting interview question. So generally, if I do like Python programming something, if I do a split, white space is present only once. Observe carefully. If I give like more spaces, if I ask only one, means white space, though these many white spaces are there, you got like this. Whereas if I go for explicit split, in that case, if I don't, if I give one space, so then did you observe the difference? Means when you don't give any space, this is very, very interesting. When you don't give any character, by default, it will do with split, with space. So, but if you have any number of white spaces, it will treat all at like a single thing. If you don't want that kind of feature, which is like a built-in advantage when you're working with some cases, then you should give explicit. If you give explicit, how many times these are present, it will treat. Means same like any other character, it will treat. So this is what most important when you are working. Remember this. This is one of the interview question. So let me comment them for you to understand. Okay. Next. So coming to the other thing, coming to this split, there is another interesting part of the split is called as split and max split. This is another interesting part. So split by default, if you ask to split something, it will split, right? If I have something, I'm asking to split. How many times that particular character is present, you are splitting it. But And did you see the output? The character with you are splitting in the output is not there, right? And fine. And here I can specify the max split, which is an option. If I give like max split equal to 0, it will not split at all. If I give like split once, it will split for the first occurrence of 0 because we are splitting with 0 or any character. If I give like split of like 3 times, from the starting, first 3 occurrences of that character or substring, it will split, and subsequently it will not split. If I give like a split of say some big number, though you give any big number, how many occurrences of this particular substring is present, those many times only it can split. So what if I give like a -1? Will it take a -1? If you give any other character, it is not handling, right? Negative or anything. So it is not throwing error, but it is doing. Fine. Now the interesting part. If I do like only 1, first occurrence of it, it is splitting, right? Similarly, like split, there is another thing called as R split. R split, if you understood now, you will understand. From right to left, it is trying to check for the occurrence of these zeros, and the first occurrence it is splitting. Means when you don't give the max split, so split and R split will give the same answer. Did you understand? If I don't give the concept of max split, split and max split will give, so R split will give the same answer. But when you have a max split, which is having some values, that's where you understand importance of R split. Hope it's fine for everyone. So next, so we can specify individually how many times you want to split and others. And one more use case, if you see here, if I have like, comma, if I want to split with comma, just now I told one example, right? Like white space, you see here in this case. If I'm splitting by comma, I got like this. But sir, what if I have 2 commas in middle? I have nothing. You got like this, right? Extra thing. Similarly, as I told you, if I do the same thing with a white space, it will not do the same. That's a built-in functionality. As I told you, if I do with a white space, you see here, multiple white spaces also when you do individually, it tries to treat as single. But if you want to treat them individually, you should explicitly give. And similarly, this split and R split, not only this, it can take even a none. Not only a specific character, it can take even a none. Sir, what is this concept of none? Means you are not giving anything. If you don't give anything, it cannot split with anything, right? So you get the same answer. Okay. So fine. And last thing, as we need to work here, is the concept of partition and R partition. So it is same like split, but the slight difference is that if you take the example of a split, generally in split, what happens? You give any character, you are asking to split with that character. How many times it is present? Only one time, you got the output. So if you do the same thing with a partition also, you get the same answer. Partition, but the difference is that it will give 3 parts. Before that, after that, and the substring with which you are splitting. Similarly, if I give this example, you will notice that, you see here, so split of like D. D, how many times it is present? It is doing that much times. So similarly, if I do like a partition of it, it will do the same thing and that much number of times. But partition every time will give 3 values only. If a particular character is occurring 10 times also, it will give the same thing. If I do split, this T is occurring these many number of times, but it is doing like this. But if you go for partition, though it has 2 occurrences of T, it is using only the first occurrence. So before that, the character with which it is splitting, and after. If I do the R partition, the same thing will come, but